Hey, now welcome back to A1 Forever Sports, the show that's cool and fly too. I am A1 Forever's sole proprietor, Chris Tipmore. Got my man in here, Bryce Lewis, Brycey 2K, man. Some of you guys may already know him, up and comer YouTuber, believe in Hawks. That's what he does. We about to talk about some Hawks. No, let me clear this up. This is a Hawks hat. I am not a Celtics fan. I just wear different color Hawks hats, man. I got different flavors. It's just like that, man. But Bryce, man, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the platform. How do you do, good sir?
I am well, sir. I am living and, man, just waiting the final countdown, man. Days before the draft.
Like you said, man, it's the countdown, man. We're here. We're on the way. We're getting closer. It's exactly a week away now. And around about this time, in about a week or so, we're going to know exactly what the Hawks have done. We're going to have crazy reaction videos. It's going to be crazy, man. But all right. So you already know there's different reports going on. What will these Atlanta Hawks do? What path will we take? It's different things going on with Alex Sarr. I know he's the favorite, so I want to start with him. Alex Sarr is definitely the favorite in Atlanta. He's definitely the favorite on Hawks Twitter. So for those who are into that type of thing, definitely the favorite. But however, the Atlanta Hawks were unable to solidify a date to where they could just come in and just see what Alex Sarr has to offer. Now, I want to ask you, does that give you any kind of concern about him possibly? Because, there are reports talking about, he may not want to play for Atlanta. Personally, on those reports, I think those are rival execs. I really do not believe any of that at all because, Sarr and his camp has never came out and said, I do not want to play in Atlanta. I understand, how he was looking on draft night. It wasn't, on lottery night. And he wasn't smiling and everything. People are bringing this stuff up. People are going to nitpick and try to figure out what they want to do. But Alex Sarr, no Atlanta Hawks workout for him. Do you think that is going to hinder him, or you think that's going to pretty much say that the Hawks are going into a different direction, brother?
Well, I think it's interesting. The thing is that we've seen with top picks in the past that sometimes they don't get in and work out with those teams until a day, maybe day two before the draft. So I always would say in that situation, we won't know until basically the day of the draft, and we just have no reported workout from him. Obviously, you it's weird kind of thinking about it because you're kind of like, well, why would y'all have trouble scheduling? All y'all got to do is just, this is important. Like, I'm sure if the camp said we got these times, unless the Hawks already have scheduled a workout in that time, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to accommodate it, even vice versa. Because that's big for his camp. I would think his camp would maybe want to be number one overall in that regard. So, I'm not overly too concerned about it. We just have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, I know those rumors have been out there that maybe the camp doesn't want to play. One of the big ones was the fact that I think his agent, Sarr's agent, is the same as Luka's agent. And I know that there's been more coming out a little bit about from what Trey's dad said about kind of like Luka maybe never wanted to come to Atlanta. And so some people may think that may have, then since they have the same agent, like, is this an agent thing? The agent don't want him in Atlanta. So I think that's something that will obviously be a question that people are going to have. But overall, I think, team wise, I think you go through your workouts, you hope to get a workout with him in, and listen, there have been situations where sometimes, I don't know, maybe this early in the draft. I don't think this early in the draft, but there are times where you may not work out a player and then you draft him. So.
Right. Indeed. It's happened for the Orlando Magic when they drafted Pablo Banchero. They did not work him out, but they still drafted him because they seen the talent there. And, that's kudos to them for him. It's just they drafted the best player that they feel like would help their franchise. And I'm not going to lie, Banchero looks good. So, I'm saying as far as definitely. He was on the biggest stage in the playoffs and he made some noise, man. He did. He definitely turned some heads, and I'm looking to see how he capitalizes on that coming the next year. But back to the Hawks, they've brought in several lottery prospects for the workouts, like Reed Shepard and what the Martez Brazilis and with Cody Williams, and I believe
Mm,
guy Holland, Ron
mm.
Holland. So they bringing in all these guys. Now a couple of these guards, it just looks kind of weird for me because I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
all
Reed
right, look,
Shepard. Can't forget about Reed Shepard.
yeah, Reach. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh Lord, it's just like I don't need a guard at all. So
Woo.
just to even see guards being worked out, really just makes me wonder. Okay, Atlanta, why are you even working out guards when guard is really not necessarily our issue right now?
Mhm,
Is that leading to possibility of a DJ departure, of a Trey Young departure? But if it is, it still leaves a hole because you're going to have somebody inexperienced or
mhm.
second year, or or just a rookie in those different filling those shoes. So I mean, like, do you think there's anything to a possibility of that though?
Um, I think. Listen, one thing about this regime I can say is when they say they're going to uncover every stone, they do.
They do.
They
I give
go through the process. They are not a reactionary. We're just going to make decision go. We are going to
All
look
right.
at every option, even if it seems like an option that really you think shouldn't be that much of an option. They'll look at the option, and I think they're just, and I think that's part of the whole rumor of them potentially trading back. Because let's say
Mm,
hypothetically you trade back and you don't have Klingon, Ricochet, and Sar are all gone. Let's just say
right.
that happened. Well, then who
Okay.
are you going to take? And maybe the best player on the board is Reed Shepard. Because when you get back, I'm just saying, if that, I don't know
I'm going.
what the
I'm
board
going.
looks like.
I'm going. Dalton Connect.
I don't know what the board looks like, but
I may have to see if I can look into Dalton Connect. I may have to see if I can
yeah,
do
I
that.
mean, all these guys are potential options at that spot, and so you got to know, okay, let's work out these players that are in that range that could go for, and just we get a feel for them, so we know, okay, our first plan went out the window. Okay, well, from these guys, who did we like the most in our workout? Who showed us what we wanted to see, and kind of go from there. I think because obviously, even in that pick, I don't think you technically draft for need, quote unquote, because I think you're so high in the draft, you're usually able to get a player you want for the position you need. But like in that situation, I mean, pretty much outside of Klingon and Sar, a lot of the guys they've interviewed have been wings slash guards. So, and I just think that's just more of a, the last thing they want to do is that situation happens and they've never worked out any of those players. Because now you're like,
Yeah,
we haven't really looked at him that closely. So it's like, I don't
yeah,
know. I guess him. And now you're guessing in the war room, draft room.
indeed. Leaving no stone unturned, and I know I've definitely have said I believe the Hawks should do that. Even entertain possible trade scenarios as well.
Mhm.
Now I know that Landry Fields came out and said that they want to take the number one pick. What else was he going to say? I guess at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, I don't suspect them to really trade the pick unless it's in a blockbuster deal just comes their way. And
Mhm.
and real quick, Ron Holland is a forward. I know I called him a guard, but he is a forward. But Reed Shepard though. But yeah, but
Listen, man. Listen,
yeah, man.
man. I say
I,
it, man. They say
I
white
mean
boy
he can
summer
shoot.
coming, man.
Man.
Listen, man. They say Reed, man.
That make my
Hey,
head itch just even thinking about it, man. Come on now.
hey,
'Cause I
don't
mean, for
forget
me,
next year.
the Hawks need a center, man. They need a defensive presence. And I'm just saying, like, you get Ricochet. All right, you bring in Ricochet, it still doesn't solve the problem, the main problem. That's having a rim
Mm,
defender and having somebody who can defend in space. Now, from what I've seen, potential wise, that's what Sar can do.
mm,
Now, and then saying Clegan, he has potential, but he's not the fleetest of feet. That's
mm,
for one thing. He can be bullied around a little bit. I didn't really realize that until I looked into more film, but he can be bullied around a little bit. I've seen people take things right out of his hands. I've seen people take the ball right out of Sar's hands. So it's
mm,
like it's different things that I see from different players. And the more you dive into each player, you can find pros and cons all over the place. But
mm.
it's at the end of the day, you still have to figure out the best situation and scenario for you. And that's what the Hawks are trying to do by, I guess, turning all these stones. because different scenarios and different guys that they fall in love with, like Klingon, and they said that he did well. And you were saying, I know you was telling me earlier about the different things that he was doing well, pretty much the drills that they put him through, and
Mm,
things that they wanted to see from him, he was able to succeed. So the thing about it that scares me about the Klingon thing was the whole fact that the head coach, Dan Hurley, how he emphasized how much the Hawks are absolutely in love with Donovan Klingon.
mm,
Because if you're in love with a player like that, I'm just saying what he says. I mean, well, no. Let me quote him directly. They really like him,
mm,
but they really asking a lot of questions about him. Like they're having dialogue back and forth about Klingon. And for all the SAR lovers, that is not music to your ears. That's not what you want to
mm,
hear. And I'm going on record by saying I'm seeing what Hawks Twitter are saying. I'm seeing what some of the Hawks content creators are saying about they do not see how you just skip SAR and go to Klingon or Ricochet. And in some aspects, I can understand that, but everybody got some faults. I don't seen some things, some tape from everybody that I don't like. But you just got to go with the best option. And I still want to say that Alex Sarr is probably going to be your best option. But I am more interested, not just in the draft, I'm more interested, and I'm pretty sure you are as well, in what happens after the draft. What moves will you
mm.
make after? How will you retool this roster? Who's on the move? Who's coming in? And how comfortable the Hawks will feel as well, just thinking about this too. Depending on what the Hawks can do after the draft may affect what they do in the draft. If they feel like they can go get some center help or anything like that, they may not even take a center at all.
Mm.
We may see a forward or two. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
it's just certain things you got to think about as well. Which what you had to say?
I think the thing is that with the debate of the who they gonna take,
Right.
like I said, everybody has a flaw. Everybody has their strengths.
My does.
At the end of the day, you draft Sar, you draft Klingon. I mean, you do feel a need. I
Right.
think the biggest thing with Sar for them is how do the Hawks see Sar? Do they see him as a center? Do they see him as a
Mm-hmm.
four? If you see him as a four, you have a problem because Jalen Johnson is a
Absolutely.
four. Mo Gay is a four to them. So
Hello.
you gonna draft another four, and then a four is gonna play center? And then in Klingon's situation, he is a center. He's a traditional center, drop
That's
coverage
it.
guy. Obviously you're worried about him in space. Obviously, a guy that big, you worry about his conditioning just because it's harder for guys that size to just be that well
Mm-hmm.
conditioned. Um,
Right.
and so you have to look at well, what do we need him for? What is going to be his role for this team? I don't think drafting him is going to mean he's going to start. And
No,
I know
God
some people
forbid.
may, and I know some people may be shocked by that, but like again, that's the thing with this draft. Depending on your team and your situation, it's not like these players are just begging to be starters. These are guys that you maybe put in a starter role depending on what your team has. Like if Sar goes to Washington, he'll probably start because they ain't got nobody else. That makes
Right.
sense in that
Indeed.
situation. Here,
And
there's
yeah.
some decent players, or if it's four, you have a really good player at a spot, and so you can't just say he's going to come off the bench. So, and then like I said, that one thing I said about Sar too is I kind of look at him right now as he's kind of in his Evan Mobley stages. Um, I brought up in my podcast about the series against the Knicks that Cleveland had 2 years ago. If you go
Mm-hmm.
back to that series, Julius Randle was manhandling him, and Julius Randle's
Yeah.
like 6'9".
Yeah.
So he's not taller, he's just stronger. And I just remember there was a play where I think a free throw was shot and he got blown, like Evan Mobley got blown off the
Blown
line.
up.
And I think
Yeah.
the Knicks got an offensive rebound. And I think that's something that could happen. Now the only difference is that Sar's a little bit taller, but
Yeah.
again, like if he's gonna get bullied like that,
Thing
by God,
about it, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not gonna be
Because I mean,
ideal.
you're right. Just to your point, real quick, before you continue, you can have all the height in the world. If you ain't got no size or no strength to go with it, what are you? So,
Exactly. Exactly. And two, I also think with Sar and the Klingon thing, Klingon. Okay, one thing about the team, this is also playing me.
Right.
A lot of people in the team is skinny. The Hawks are a very skinny team. like let's just be honest, they're a skinny team.
Skinny and
And
short.
so if you add SAR, you added some height, still skinny.
You're
When
still
you go
skinny.
against Joker, when you go against Embiid, when you go against, just teams with bigger centers, it's not like you got the most ideal matchup in terms of just a guy who can go strength for strength with him. It's the same
Sarah
thing.
be great. Sarah be great against what my man is, Chet Holmgren.
Yeah,
Sarah be
he'll be
great
great
against
against Chet
guys.
Holmgren. And that's why I think Klingon gets that may be something they're looking at with him. Like Klingon's 280. So there may be matchups where he'll bully Chet because he's bigger than Chet. And that could work in your favor. And so they may be like, listen, we know what his weaknesses are. And listen, if he's not going to start in the moments where you need defense, Okongwu's probably going to be out there in terms of defenders. Obviously, because Klingon would probably be the better rim protector. But in even saying that, I still feel like the Hawks' biggest thing they need to do is improve the point of attack. That to me is the key to everything. Improving the point of attack will help Klingon. It will help whatever it is. Because you don't want it to be what they were last year, where it was like, well, pretty much we need 3 through 5 to hold up.
Yep.
Because we can't stop them at the perimeter. We can't stop them at the point. You want to be able to know you can defend that. And then that'll help with the entire connection of the defense and this help defense. And then that can maybe help Klingon be able to kind of maybe roam around the paint a little bit and be effective, because it's not a matter of my guy's going to be beaten. It's helping. I'm a big body. I can maybe create a double team when somebody gets into the paint. That makes it a difficult decision. Hawks are able to rotate defensively, things of that nature, and be able to do something like that. So I think it's a tough decision, but the Hawks have to think about their roster and think about, okay, what we want to do? Because I could make an argument that every player they draft, they could have a plan for how does that change our free agency? How does that change how we trade? If we draft Sarr, what does that change? If we draft Ricochet, what does that change? If somehow we didn't get one of the 3 guys, what does that change? And how do we need to approach free agency? This move is directly connected to that. So it's just about whoever they think will be added, because even Landry said it. He said the number one pick is not going to make us a championship contender. It's just a piece of the puzzle. It's just a piece of the puzzle.
That's it. That's why I'm more interested in what they do afterwards, man, because that's just the beginning and the start. And you have to build off of whatever you do in the possible draft. But again, that's why I say, and even Bob Rathburn, when he had came on, he had said that, they're doing their due diligence. They're not just twiddling their thumbs. They're trying to see what's the best scenario for the team and the organization moving forward. And, you take that with a grain of salt, because, Bob is around the team just about every day. So, you take that with a grain of salt, and you just be like, okay, well, let's try to trust them in what they're doing. And for Klingon, oh man, I just had lost my. Oh no, I'm sorry, because I was supposed to start with Sarr and everything. But yeah, for Sarr though, that point of attack defense, I think he can actually help with that as well, though, because he can guard the wing defenders and the perimeter. I mean, we've seen tape of him doing that. But to your point, if the Hawks don't draft Sarr and he goes to Washington, I feel like it wouldn't be as much pressure on Sarr than it would be in Atlanta, if that makes any sense. Because, like you said, they have nobody out there, so you got to run them out there. But if they have a terrible season, like, he's still getting his work in. You know what I'm saying? Like, he comes to the Hawks, he's expected to be a contributor to hopefully what is going to be a playoff team, because we've been a play-in team. We've been in the Atlanta Hawks Invitational, the play-in game, for the longest now, the last 3 seasons, so, and didn't even get into the playoffs, this year. So that moving forward, with the thing with Klingon, and I remember when I first started this whole draft process and the whole scouting process, I was going off of the size and the height of Klingon, just off of just physical attributes. And I'm just like, look, when it's time to go against Embiid, when it's time to go against Joker, Jokic. You got to have somebody with some girth who can at least try to push them back. When they push, they can push back, and somebody who's not going to just get mopped up in the paint. And I'm not even with Sar at the 5, even with him at the 5, because he can't play the 4 like you was indicating earlier. Jalen Johnson, me personally, I want to keep him at power forward because he's a mismatch nightmare for whomever. Just like how the Falcons have Kyle Pitts, he's going to be a mismatch against safeties and deep and linebackers. You can also have this guy. So it's just who's going to help out. So you can have those mismatches going on, and I don't want to change that for Jalen Johnson. I like him being our point forward. So Sar would necessarily have to be the 5 because it doesn't make any sense. And Landry even mentioned Mo Gay, and he mentioned Kobe. He mentioned their names, so I expect them to be contributors this upcoming season. You don't need to keep drafting 4s and 3s, stuff like that. If you're going to draft Sar, just draft Sar. But you have to believe that he's the 5. You have to believe that he can come into it, and him coming into it, and let's say first game of the season, let's say the first 5 games, right? First 5 games of the season. Let's give a scenario if for Sar or Klingon. First 5 games of the season. Let's say you got Brook Lopez. Okay. Let's say you have Embiid. Let's say you have Jokic. Let's say you have Rudy Gobert. Let's say you have who am I missing? Let's say you have Wembanyama. I'll throw him out there. That's your first 5 opponents. Who do you feel more comfortable with? Sar at the 5 or Klingon, who can only guard the 5?
I mean, probably with the lineup you mentioned, it's crazy to say it because here's the thing. I would say Klingon, but the thing about it is like the 5th guy you mentioned, Wemby, probably be a bad matchup for him.
Oh,
just
terrible
because
matchup.
Terrible matchup for him. Rudy would be a fine because they're basically the same player. So that's just who just gonna play better. Embiid, I mean, probably the same thing. At least he's big enough to kind of battle with Embiid. Sar wouldn't be able to.
He's gonna use Sar.
I mean, Joker. I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, the
thing about Jokic, the thing about Jokic and Embiid, the thing about those two guys, I feel like no matter which one of those two guys play, they'll be used. Because they're a rookie. Those two guys. One is a champion. Of course, multiple time in both MVPs. You know what I'm saying? They both can do incredible things. 2 different skill sets, but 2 totally incredible players. So you have those 2 guys going against your rookie. That's tough. That's tough. And then, like I even mentioned, Brook Lopez, who is another big body. So it's just, who do you feel more comfortable with? That's what I'm saying. The Hawks have to be thoroughly convinced that Sar can play the 5 and that the roster will be able to, to cater to Sar as well. I mean, of course, Trey and everybody else, but you got to think about, if you draft Sar, you got to be able to have guys who's backing him up or in front of him, who's be able to give him a rest when he may take an elbow from Embiid, when he may take an elbow from Jokic or any one of these guys, and may have to get a little breather or something like that. Not saying the guy's a pushover, but like you indicated before, he's just slim. He's just slim. He can multiple positions, and I love that about him. But as far as his size, I feel like he needs to put on a little bit more. And with the NBA facilities being better than college facilities, and I'm not too sure about overseas facilities, so I'm not going to touch on that. But just being around NBA facilities, NBA trainers, I believe he can get stronger. He can get faster, be more of a dominant force. But it's probably going to take maybe a season or 2 for him really to come into it. All we have is potential, and we have to work off of that potential of these players, because nobody is a home run and nobody is a slam dunk.
Yeah, because like I said, if this was next year, you have 2 prospects that are looked at as franchise players, Cooper Flag, and I forget who the other guy is.
Yeah,
and
I
so
know.
Obviously, then it would be a battle of which franchise player do you want?
There you go.
They start. That could change the whole conversation. Where this year you ain't got that, so it's like,
nope.
Well, which piece do you think is going to be most helpful to us down the line? Which piece?
And let's be honest. we don't know when the next time we're gonna get a number one pick ever. So just,
Exactly. So,
bro, like,
like, and to me too, I also think I don't know. I don't know if you feel this way. I kind of feel
yeah,
like low key if we draft Klingon, I feel like that increases the chances we keep Trey.
I feel
Like I
this.
just
No, to be honest with you, if they draft either big man, I feel good about Trey being here
yeah, I mean,
because in the
I feel
pick
like
and
they're kind of
roll,
dying down a little bit. I feel like the thing is
think
they're
so.
trying to make it seem like they still haven't had that conversation. But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I just I don't think I don't like I said, I don't think Trey wants to go. I don't think this is him coming into this like get me out of here. Like it
Right.
would have to be literally the Hawks are telling Trey, listen, there's a chance we may not be good this year because of the direction we're going in. And then that's where they come to the agreement, a mutual agreement to move on.
Oh man, not
It
another
wouldn't
Mike Bulldozer.
it would not be a we want to get rid of you or Trey's like get me out of here. As long as I feel like it's really truly just as long as the Hawks are trying to be competitive, Trey will stick. That's all he wants. It's
I
just
mean,
to
he's
know,
ready to win
are we
now.
going to be competitive? Are we going to try to compete? If the answer is
Right.
yes, then I'm here. And then I think people forget about the Quinn Snyder factor. Quinn did not come here
Yes.
to rebuild a team. People
No,
forget
he
that.
did not.
If
They
he
gave
came
him
here to
five
rebuild,
years too.
exactly. So, like I think people think that they're willing to do it, but I'm like, I don't think Quinn wants to do it. Quinn did not
Mm-mm.
leave his vacation when he came here
Th-
to rebuild.
Come on
They
now. Holmes was on a
Shams
beach somewhere.
Shams came out on Jeff Teague's podcast and said Quinn and Trey said they need each other to win in Atlanta.
There you
What
go.
type of sense does that make to move Trey and then try to? Because then I feel like you have to convince Quinn that you can still be successful.
I feel like it's gonna be a snowball going down the hill,
Exactly.
crashing into a into a town or something. It's
People
gonna
want to
be
keep throwing
terrible.
the rebuild word out there, and
No,
I'm just like,
bro.
I don't
We
think the
cannot
Hawks are
afford a
going to do
rebuild.
that. Exactly. I
I
don't
don't
think
even
the
think
Hawks are
our
going to do that.
fans. Yeah, I don't even think our fans would be. I don't think we'll put up with that as fans because I'm a fan too. So it just
Yeah,
like I'm just more than just covering the Hawks. I'm a fan too, and I just don't
especially the
even
way
think
the draft is
fans.
now. I mean,
Yeah,
you see what Detroit did. They were the worst team in basketball last 2 years. Haven't been able to get the first pick or
and
the
we did
second.
not. That's what I'm saying.
So
For the
we
second,
tank. We may still get the fourth pick. We may not get a generational player. And then what we gonna do? We gonna be doing if we gonna be 76ers. Just keep losing, keep gathering first picks, keep gathering top guys, and eventually it'll come through. Like, no, like realistically,
mm,
you have to play the percentages. You just have to be real. The Hawks got one competing for the playoffs. And
right?
so if that's the case, we might as well just keep competing then. And then if it ends up being bad, well, shoot, we might be a top four team again. So
Yeah,
the numbers are basically saying there's no point to just restart this whole thing over.
right. I don't
You
think we
know?
should restart it over either. Just retool, man. You got to retool, but it's just, man. I don't know how you feel about
Mm,
this, but I will go on record, and I don't mind saying that right now I'm nervous, and my trust factor in this front office and ownership collectively, you know what I'm saying, to get this right,
mm,
to make the right moves, to make some tough decisions, to make the best decisions though as well. My faith in that would be probably like what anything that can come before zero, like -1, -2,
I'm good.
something. Yeah, man. I just don't have the faith in it just because of the things that I've seen. I've seen questionable moves made. I've seen guys that got it. We got to bring other guys to come in to help with the salary cap and all this different thing.
Mhm.
And just different just things about the arena and about the ownership. It makes me feel like it's not about winning. It's more of about, the club scene of Atlanta, the spotlights, the flashing lights of Atlanta, and I feel like it's more about that. And it shouldn't be. I shouldn't feel like that, but that's my fandom coming out right there. As a
Mhm.
fan, that's how I feel. As a professional, I feel like I'm glad the spotlight is on Atlanta, And I'm glad that they have to make decisions. I'm glad they have to make moves. And I'm glad that the magnifying glass is on them, because if you make the wrong moves, everybody's going to see you. If you make the right moves, hey, salute to you. You
Mm,
know, so that's another thing. Like outside of it all, I'm just, regardless of what the Hawks do come draft night, I'm happy that the spotlight is on Atlanta to either make the right move or you're just going to embarrass yourself. And if you
mm,
embarrass yourself, then I don't see how you continue to can go forward too much longer in a minute, because we already have like quiet is kept behind the scenes. We already have fans calling for ownership to sell the team.
mm.
We need new ownership. We need new front office. We already have that. So those chants are probably get a little louder if you continue not to rise this team out of the ashes of 2021.
Yeah. And I think that's really the biggest thing, really, man. It's funny because you think about that year,
Mm-hmm.
they were aggressive. Wrestler just said, we want to win. And Slink was like, okay. And then they made additions. I think everybody was expecting this just to be a middle of the road playoff team. Like, all right, make postseason. We didn't expect making
Yeah.
conference finals. Things worked out. I think the change of coach obviously helped out. And, they haven't really been outside of the DJ trade, they haven't really been that aggressive since then. Everything's been more calculated, more, like, all right, let's not force anything here. Which
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's just them making sure they're not putting themselves in a bad salary cap situation. Because listen, like I've said
Right.
before, we keep talking about them being cheap, but at the same time, the team that's been the salary cap, electric tax for like 8 years, the Golden State Warriors wants out. They want to get
Warriors want
below the
out.
first apron of salary tax.
They
So
do.
that tells
Denver's the
you,
second
like,
apron team.
yeah, like
So
like I'm telling, I repeat this every time I tell people, teams are worried about that second apron because it restricts your ability to improve your team. It doesn't just make you pay more money. You literally
mm-hmm.
cannot make particular moves. You cannot sign buyout guys. You can't trade for
Mm-hmm.
certain guys. Like, you are limited. Like, that is your team unless you trade someone for free or let people off the books.
Right.
And I think when any team sees their payroll increasing and they see we'll be a second apron team in a couple of years, they're like, we got to make changes now because
Right.
we can't. And that's why I think so many people hate it, because
Right.
it really affects the teams that grow players organically, because you can't sign all
Right.
of them to big contracts or else
You
you're
can't.
going to put yourself in the luxury tax.
You would have
So,
to hope that the player would take a massive pay cut, even if they've been balling,
yeah.
for that to happen.
And that's
So
not going to usually happen. So I think that in
usually
and of
don't.
itself makes it tough. And I
Every-
think that's what the Hawks are also trying to maneuver
yeah.
while also trying to win. It's just, all right, well, if we're going to at least get into the tier one luxury tax, I want to make sure we have a competitive team that can get there. But that's why they've taken the approach of having these young guys like Kobe Mo,
Mhm.
whoever they draft this year, things
And
of
I
that
like
nature.
Buster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I love
So, Vic Krejci, guys like that, because
AJ Griffin, man. Have you seen him working out recently?
yes, sir. Seen the video before I got on, man. Yeah, AJ Griffin, man, trying to get back. Because here's the
Liking it.
thing,
Liking it.
I'll throw this scenario out there. I don't think this is going to happen, but the Hawks could do this just for money. They may trade DJ. I don't know what they're going to get back, but they may trade DJ. Let's just say hypothetically they don't get a two guard. I mean, technically, you got Bogey and AJ.
Got
Your
Bogey and
backcourt could
AJ.
technically be Trey, Bogey, AJ, and Kobe, technically. Obviously,
It
your two
could be.
guard, what Bogey could do, but AJ, we got to see, is he ready for that role? Everybody's
Right.
excited for
That
Kobe
would
to
be
step
my
up
thing.
into that place. So, I mean, it's
Kobe and Trey on the floor at the same time.
exactly, yeah. And so it's because the thing is, ultimately one of the most low key decisions they have to make is, how do you feel about AJ Griffin?
Right.
You draft him in the first round. You expected him to be a part of your roster and a part of the rotation. How do you feel about him? There's no point to just keep him on the roster, but no, he's not going to be able to play. It's
right.
Okay, do something with him. Either trade him and get something back, or you need to maybe make an effort to let him in some capacity be in the rotation.
Right.
I think AJ is a 2, not a 3 to me.
I
I
agree with
just
that.
think I think he naturally plays better at the two, even though he has the capabilities of playing three. Um, but at the same time, I think they also have to change his role. I think initially they kind of used him as like a spot up shooter. And
Yeah,
like if you remember AJ's rookie year, he can people
he was
down, break down
balling.
defenses.
Come on
So
now,
I
create
think
his own shot. He was turning. I feel like his second year where he would have been an actual shot creator just off of his rookie season.
yeah.
But
And so I
mhm,
think that's a decision they have to make. Like, okay, if we move DJ, because let's just say hypothetically they get Brandon Ingram.
mhm,
Hypothetically, he's your three,
hypothetically,
right? So you're
right,
probably not going to get a two guard back in that deal, maybe unless it's Dyson Daniels. But
right. But I've
in that
seen people
situation,
saying put Pi at the two.
and that may be something they want to do. Listen, all I can say, listen, what's crazy?
What's that?
If Bay was healthy, honestly, I wouldn't have even minded putting Bay at the two, to be honest with you, bro. And the only reason why I
Sadiq
say that,
Bey at the two.
is because if you think about the way he plays, I mean, he's kind of like a bigger wing, like not a bigger wing.
I
He
like
is
when he
a
drive.
Yeah, like he could do it, and then he also can shoot. And then listen, they've done it before. The people that don't realize they put Bay at the two before. They've only done it like
Mhm.
a couple of times. And
Yeah,
I like to bring this up
small samples.
because nobody remembers this lineup the Hawks have used, and they've had success with the lineup two times. I remember two times they used this lineup where they would have either DJ or Trey at the point, and then your 2 through 5 it was Bay, Hunter, Jalen, Okongwu.
Hmm. I do
And
remember
I
that
remember they
lineup.
used that. If you watch the opening day game against Hornets, I believe it was that third or fourth quarter, they were down. That lineup, I think they just tied it up. And
Yeah,
I think they were down like 3 points.
I think I want to say it was the fourth, but I'm not sure. Ah, God, that was such a long
And
time
that
ago.
rotation was really effective. I mean, the rotation was really effective because, like, okay, so Bay should be able to guard twos, even though he's not a great defender. Like, realistically, he's not like outmatched against twos. You got Hunter guarding threes, Jalen's guarding fours, and Ngongu's guarding five. Like that is like literally, I always say their most balanced lineup they can put on the floor because you still get
Yeah,
your score. You got Trey DeJounte, and then you got defense 2 through 5. You got shooting. You have people who can roll to the rim. You got fast break.
right.
Like there's a reason why that lineup.
I can't lie. It's a lot. It's a lot of speed. It's a lot of power. A lot of force on there.
Like
Um,
versatility, you can switch
yeah,
2 through 5.
yeah. But see, the
Like,
problem with that now is Sadiq got hurt.
yeah, that's
That's
the
the
issue.
only
He's hurt.
problem with that now.
And we don't know what the plan is. Like I said, for him, like if we
Right.
keep him, obviously you're not going to intentionally have a roster spot open for him. But like when he
Right.
comes back, well, if you sign him to a 1-year deal, you still got to decide. Well, do we keep him for another year? Is he still a part of our plans? Is he still a part? Because I truly think the regime
Does
was
he have
viewing him
the
as like
Hawks DNA? Does he
I
have the Hawks DNA?
I I truly believe like the regime was looking at Bay as like a piece of like what they wanted in the future. Like I truly believe it. And so now with that injury, does that change things? Does that change how you view him? Does that change if you want to keep him? Because now you have to build your team assuming he won't be there. And so
Right.
if you find something that works, you can't just throw him back out there. Just play him. There has to be a reason to play him. So I mean, it's good to have. Like, listen, if you're telling me our third team, Sadiq Bay's out there, and if we have an injury or something, Sadiq can come in. I mean, you probably have more confidence in him as a third team guy than
Then a
both
rookie.
guys. But
Yeah, I definitely would have more faith in him over a rookie. Because I
yeah,
mean, he's
exactly.
already
So
played the game. He's been
exactly,
around.
and literally, if Bay could get his shot back, I mean,
If he can
offensively,
shoot like he did at Villanova, my goodness.
I mean, if he could just shoot with how way he did when he got traded to us, he was shooting 40% when he got traded to us. The
Right.
rest of that
Yeah.
season. If he could, and I remember
Right.
the line because there were some good numbers with Bay in the lineup in that because he was stretched forward and knocking threes down and everything, and then he just lost his shot. He improved
Like what
attacking the rim.
happened? Like, what do you think really like just happened? Like what is it that's different from we're not even gonna go back to college. We're gonna leave that alone. Just in the NBA, just with him from Detroit, like those times where he had that career high what it was like 52, something like
Yeah,
that from that Sadiq Bey. Like that's the Sadiq Bey. I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Oh, five second round picks. All right. If we're gonna get that type of player, that's what I want to see. But he hasn't been that. I mean, he hasn't been able to be that. And like you said, he hasn't been finding that shot.
Outside of the like I said, that last half of the year after the trade deadline when we got him, I mean, like like I said, this season was weird because like he improved. Like Bay. There was a lot of games where Bay would have like 15 and 10. Like it's crazy, like because you don't know him as a rebounder, but like he would get 10 rebounds. Like
he's not afraid of the boards.
Yeah, he's not he's actually a really good offensive rebounder, really good putback guy. Like that, like there is legit value with Bay. The issue is just defensively he's not great. But offensively, he can give you a lot. Like if he gets a shot back, he can offensive rebound, shoot the three, finish around the rim. So there's just a ton of like, I see why we like him. And then he tries defensively. And so, and I just feel like he's better off the bench than he is in the starting lineup. So
I agree with that.
Where we think Hunter is better off the bench instead of in the starting lineup, I feel like there's two opposite guys.
It's so crazy because I don't want Hunter in the starting lineup. I want him off the bench. So,
but obviously the only issue with that is the thing about the only issue with that is it's just if you put him on the bench, who's starting?
Because that's what I'm saying. Now we would have a problem.
Because every Quinn said it, everybody says it, Bob says it. At the end of the day, as much people hate DeAndre Hunter, he's the best defender we got. He's the best person that they have for guys.
And the best wing defender that Trae Young has had, like, period. We ain't got nothing else but him.
Like, he's not fantastic, but he's not terrible. Like,
there you go.
You put it like I always say against teams like Miami and them, he's really effective. He actually has his best games against those teams because Miami likes to play a more aggressive physical style. And I think the reason why they have a lot of success against the Hawks is because they're a smaller team. Well, Hunter's one of the few guys who can like physically match up with them and like battle with them. And so they can't do that to him. And I think sometimes those are the games you implore him to be more aggressive. And like I said, he improved his 3-point shooting. Obviously, that's big for floor spacing. And just everything like that. So it's like people want to get rid of Hunter, but it's like, okay, well, what do we have after? Like that that's the thing. Like realistically, the bench this year, if let's just say hypothetically move DJ. Let's just say hypothetically DJ was removed from the equation. Your bench this year would probably be Kobe Buffkin. Probably, let's just say Bogey's still on the bench. So Buffkin, Bogey, probably Vic Krejci, Muhammad Gay, and let's just say
Bruno.
the first pick.
What, maybe Bruno? Maybe
it could be a Kongu or the first pick.
Okay.
You think about the bench. I mean, Kobe can defend, Vic can defend, Mo can defend, Okongwu the first pick, Sar or Klinger can defend. You got 4 out of 5 guys in your bench who can defend the ball. And Bogey, I feel like, works within the scheme of a defense. He's not a good individual defender, but he's good in the scheme of a defense.
He did better this year. He's still Bogey, but he did better on defense than he did last year.
His knees were better too. That helped with his knees.
That helps a lot. That helps a lot. Knees and movement. Get your mobility videos in.
So that's why I've said I've mentioned that. I said realistically, if the Hawks make the right move, if they move, like I say, they keep trading, move DJ, and they get a defender, like you can make your starting center defend, Jalen can defend, your 3 can defend, your 2 can defend. Trey's your only person that you can't defend. Like, but he tries. He's
tries effort.
He can
defense is about effort, though, bro.
Exactly. Steals, effort plays. Just if he can have those moments where he can, help in the defense, support, and help the whole defense as a whole. I mean, realistically, you just improved your defense if you're Atlanta. Because you have players that are going to step up next year who are already known to be decent, good defenders. Like, we expect Muhammad Gay to be a really good defender. We think Kobe can be a really good defender. Let's say you get Klinger. You think he could be a good defender. Vic Krejci can defend. He can defend 1 through 4. That's the thing. Vic Krejci technically has been listed as a point guard, a small forward, a shooting guard. Like, he can guard 1 through 4.
Everything but a center. I'm saying everything but a center. And I believe once he puts a few elements of his game together, Vic could possibly be like a nice piece on a good team as long as he gets opportunity and he advances his game, continues with that consistency. I can see some good things with Vic, man. I, I see the potential. Let me just say that I see the potential.
Thing with
It's
Vic is
all
just
on him.
offensively, man. Because Vic, it's weird with Vic because he can shoot the three, but like he's not that aggressive offensively. Like that's the thing. Like there are games where he'll give you 3 points, and then there's games he'll give you 18. And that's just because he in the 3-point game is because he only took 2 shots. like he's not he isn't looking when he gets the ball in his hands to score. And I just think because he feels like his role is to help set up, to help create movement, to help create spacing. He's not thinking my role is to come out and score 10 to 15 points for them. And I think sometimes they're having to encourage him, like, shoot, like, no, like, if you got a shot, you're good enough to make that shot, like, because that helps you too if you're able to make shots. You don't want your a starter scoring 3 points because he just didn't take shots.
You're right. And I mean, in 22 games, in 22 games for Vic, guy, I wish we could have kept him longer, but that's neither here or there and everything. But in 22 games, he started 14, and old Krejci shot 41% from 3. For 49% from the field, and also 83% from the foul line. So you'll take those numbers, man. You especially like if he's not going to be a big role anyway. Like I know that's a sample size, 22 games is nothing, but at the end of the day, those 22 games at least gave you an idea of what possibly could be. I would like to see him by game 56, 57. You know what I'm saying? Something like this, like where is he as far as all his percentages? But I like Vic, and I believe that he can and shoot. Even though he's not even necessarily really signed to the team, I believe he's a restricted free agent. He's still being mentioned, so that's how I know he's important. Like because Landry mentioned him, so he's obviously important to the team.
I think they want to lock him up to a 4-year deal. I just don't know what the money looking like.
Hell, I don't know what it's looking like either.
Like it ain't gonna be it's not gonna be anything crazy.
Don't worry,
it's gonna be like. I see 4 years, 20. Like I mean, $5 million a year. I mean,
yeah. And the thing about it is that's not bad. That's what you're not gonna frown your face at that. Well, at least you shouldn't. But overall, though, again, like I said, him being a restricted free agent he's still important to the team. He's still important to the direction of where the Hawks want to go. And I believe that speaks volumes because that just lets you know in that sample size, they see the potential as well. So it's time to really build a team. The Celtics, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been in the league longer than Trey, for those who don't know. And they had a plan. They stuck to it. This didn't work out. Okay, let's remove this piece. Let's add this. Remember, they were just in the finals a couple of seasons ago with Malcolm Brogdon. So it's like, and then you moved on from that situation. You go get a Drew Holiday, you go get a Porzingis, get rid of Robert Williams, a player who I like, by the way, but I understand injuries. Your availability is your best ability. So I understood it, but they went and made moves. Smart. Yeah, Marcus Smart. They moved on from Marcus Smart. Come on now, like that was a ballsy move just because he was like he just won defensive player of the year. So it just like, and then you move on from him like another season after that. And it just they kept making moves. But they stuck to the plan, and that was Brown and Tatum. And now, in 2014, you had Tatum and Brown, they had the basketball game watching. And now 10 years later, they're finally champions. So
it's a journey, man. I gotta go through it every year. I remember Nuggets, Mike Malone talked about it, man. First 3 years didn't make the postseason. They could have fired me. They kept with it. We broke through. We made it to Western Conference Finals. Then Jamal had those injuries for 2 years, and then finally got back, won the chip. Like you gotta just have it takes
and
time,
almost got back again.
Yeah, like like really, they say like you got to go through some pain, you got to go through some L's, you got to go through some tough times. You gonna go
Gotta
through those
learn.
trying times where that question will be asked: do we need to break it up? And that's
Yep.
part of it. Like that
It's
is
all a
part of
part
it.
of
Like it's not going to be Golden State get Steve Kerr now your finals team. Because really
it.
Golden
Yeah.
State wasn't a championship contender till Steve Kerr got there. They were just a very fun competitive team under Mark Jackson.
I was about to say
Steve Kerr
Mark put
turned
that
it up.
team together though.
Yeah, he put the team together. It's just Kerr was able to get it to the next level because he was able to
Mhm.
use them differently. Plus, they did a really good job of adding particular players that helped.
There you go.
So, and then that's
Iggy.
why, yeah, that's why I tell people, man, it's not the Heat where you put a big three together, now you win the championships. Like it takes time. Like Minnesota's going through it. Technically, Dallas has gone through a Western Conference sweep and a Finals gentleman
Yeah.
sweep. So, like,
Yep.
you would assume next time they're in that position, they're not. This isn't going to happen again. Like because they've now gone through those two experiences. Luka has experienced the pain of loss and what it
Fine.
takes. Like it's one of like, listen, I've said this too. I said, you don't think Trey has been wanting so bad to get back to Eastern Conference Finals just to say,
Absolutely.
let me get back here. Let me remind y'all who I am and let me stay healthy and get this team over the hump like we thought we should have if I stayed healthy back in 2021. It's something because
Mm-hmm.
that's the type of stuff that drives you is that failure. That's what drove
Yep.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They said, yeah, people talk hella shit about us. Made it seem like we were not, people would roast Jaylen Brown because he couldn't dribble with his left hand, and they
Right.
said Tatum
Oh, they
ain't got
tore
enough
him up.
dog in him and stuff like that. And I said the best
So
thing Boston did was build a team where they don't need Tatum and Brown to go out for every game.
yeah,
That's
and
the
they
best
did
thing
that.
they could do because
I I still say their best acquisition still to this day is Derek White though. As
defensively
far as like
can do 20-30. I mean, he does a lot. You can like
yeah,
everybody can guard 1 through 5. Like there's no
right.
weakness that you can attack. It's funny. I say this. I said the Hawks are really the only. Obviously, the Hawks are the only team to beat Boston twice this year. But
They
I
are.
feel like the Hawks, low key, have like when they play Boston, they have a game plan that kind of works against them.
And
People
they
don't
get up.
realize it, but I also feel like that maybe because of like DeJounte and Trey, because like think about it, they're getting guarded by like Holiday and White, but like
Mm,
they pretty much attack Boston a lot and create pressure off of that. And that's how
mm,
they've been able to do good things. Like if you think about it, I mean, you think Trey Young when he averaged like 30 and 10 against them, games 3 through 6, and led and had the most fourth quarter points in the playoffs till like the Eastern Western Conference Finals of that year, was a
mm-hmm.
fluke. Like that was against Boston, who had one of the best defenses in the league.
Yep.
Um, and Trey showed out. Like, I mean, DJ, you seen what he did, drop 40. Like,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah. Gave
way. It's just
for the
very
ball.
specific way, and that's from the guard spot.
Yeah.
So, that
Yeah.
that to me is where
And
the
that's why I
big
was saying
part of the
we
patience thing comes. Like, even if the
right.
Hawks make it to the postseason, bro, like they make the second round. Let's say they lose in 7, like that's part of it
Yeah,
because
it
all they
is.
can
It's
do
part of
is
the
take
journey.
that, learn. Okay, what can we do? What do we need to add? What do we need to change? You know, maybe that one player you think people think you need to get rid of, maybe he does need to stay, but maybe we just need to add
Right.
something else to help him.
Right.
It's a very deep line of thinking you have to think about. It's not just as simple as get rid of him, add him. Now we're a much better team. Now we're a finals team. People saying, well,
It's
how did
not always
Pacers get there?
right.
Pacers, realistically, if you think about it, they're a top offensive team in the league.
Yes.
All they had to do was play some defense. East
Yeah.
Conference Finals team because you can
They,
score
they just try to
anybody,
outscore you. Yeah, they be out trying to
but if
outscore
they
you.
can just get a little bit of defense, they can win some series.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're absolutely right, bro. You're absolutely right, man. But man, I don't know what's going to I don't know what's going to happen. My guess, my fan guess is we're going to take a center. I ain't even going to put a name on it. That's my fan guess. My in my heart of hearts, what I think we're going to do, I think we're going to take it all the way down to the wire, and whatever's the best situation, that's where we're going to go. And that means even if it is a trade, They saying they're not going to trade the number 1 pick, but you never know what happens come draft night. So I just say get prepared all the way around, Hawks fans, to be upset one way or another. Because no matter who we pick, everyone is not going to like the pick. We pick Sar, it's going to be some people. Why we pick Sar? Klingon, same. Ricochet, that would be the head scratcher for me. But I will have to wait and see what moves are coming after that. Maybe we get a Nick
man,
Clack.
That's Brandon Miller. What you talking about, man?
You said what?
Hey, that's Brandon Miller. What you talking about?
Oh gosh, let's not. Whoa, buddy! Shout out to We Hawks TV. I'm gonna say shout out to the bros. Shout out to the bros. But before we get up out of here, Bryce, please, by all means, man, let these folks know where they can find this great content that you provide, sir.
Yes, sir. Y'all can find me Bryce_2K, Twitter, YouTube, any social media platform. Look at my podcast. It's Believe in Hawks, BLEAV, Believe in Hawks Pod, available on any podcast platform that you listen to, or on my YouTube channel as well. On the road to 1,000 subscribers. So if y'all do go over to the channel, or subscribe, help your boy, support your boy, and we continue to grow this thing, continue to go big. Obviously, gonna be on top of draft coverage as well. We're gonna be watching. At least by 8:30, we will know what the direction of this team is from that perspective, and we can all break it down and give our analysis and see the reaction on the timelines together. So,
indeed, get ready, man. Buckle your seatbelt, man, because once this weekend goes by, we here. We pretty much are here. But yeah, man. As far as A1 Forever Sports, the show that's cool and fly too, we have a few things we're working on behind the scenes. I know. For me, I've been trying to get some business and everything handled, so I haven't been able to do many like videos like that unless it's like a live. So I was happy to get this in with you, Bryce. Do some things in the future, of course, like you said about draft coverage. So happy about this whole, like I said, the magnifying glass being on the Hawks, man. We also have Glenn Willis. He will be pulling up from Peachtree Hawks and ATL in 29. He will be pulling up on us come Monday. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, that collaboration is coming. I know me personally, I work with KL, his partner in crime. One of his partners in crime. I know Tyler's over there too, and everything. So I've worked with him in the past. So this is going to be fun working with Glenn, because I know Glenn keeps it real as well. So looking forward to that. Got other things in the works that we're working on, as far as me, Berto, and Smitty, as we are the 95 North, sports machine collectively together. So we got some things working behind the scenes, but did not expect us to be going on for about an hour. But hey, that's what happens when we got that good content and good conversations between, two guys that, are not necessarily just fans, but also, analysts as well. So this has been great, Bryce. Definitely got to have you back on. A1 Forever, so of course on Twitter, or Twix, whatever they want to call that, Instagram, A1 Forever, TikTok, the real A1 Forever. Come on by, chat it up with your boy, man. I don't mind speaking to any fans. I don't, I'm pretty approachable, I'm saying? I think everybody could possibly say that. So, man, until next time, though, man, get ready. We move. We're getting ready for this draft. I'm really excited about this draft. I really am. I want to see what's going to happen. And then immediately the moves after, man. So for A1 Forever Sports, Chris Tipmore, for my guy Bryce 2K, you already know we out of here that way.